In this lesson, we are going to learn how to customize detail formatter and logical structure in Eclipse debugging. In specific scenarios, it can enhance your debugging experience with Jackson or JSON libraries. So, what are detail formatter and logical structures? Detail formatter controls the string representation of objects during debugging. How objects are displayed in the variables or expressions view, this is controlled by detail format. And on the other hand, logical structures, they customize how fields of complex objects are displayed, like flattening of nested objects, hiding the internal fields, adding computed properties. This is where logical structures are used. Now, let us see how to customize them using different JSON libraries hands-on. For this specific lesson, we are going to use this repository, Java Debugging with Eclipse. It's a Maven project. Let me show you the repository URL. This is github.com/j2expert2015 Java Debugging with Eclipse. It's a Maven-based project. I have used this project specifically as I'm using different dependencies like Jackson or Google JSON. That's why I would prefer to use this Maven-based project for the dependency handling. And if I scroll down, this is the section where I have added the code snippets that I'm going to use in this particular lesson. And apart from that, if you just go through the README, it is full of multiple informations. You can just have a glimpse over here. There are many details added. Anyways, going back to the top, if I go here, so this is the project which I have downloaded from GitHub and imported over here. First step, I'm going to perform a build. And before that, what I do generally, I go to properties, then Java build path, I just check whether the libraries are correct or not, whether the compiler version is correct or not. Accordingly, we adjust it. So that is the first thing we should do. And then I'm going to run a Maven build. Run as Maven build. I'm just adding clean and install. Apply, run. If I go to the pom.xml over here, I have added these two libraries. One is Jackson Databind and another is Google JSON. Now, one very important thing over here, the feature or the customization that I'm going to demo over here, any of the library that you are going to use, Jackson or JSON, that should be added as a dependency in your project. Otherwise, the customizations that we are going to do won't work. It would throw errors. Now, our build is complete. If I minimize this, let me expand this demo. I'm going to open one particular program over here. Let me open this one and run this in debug mode. Adding a breakpoint over here, right click, debug as Java application. Click switch. So here, what is the detail formatter and what is logical structure? If I go to the variables section, you can see this breakpoint is hit. By default, this is the display that we get. This is the person object. If I click over here, so here in this detail section, we have the fully qualified class path, the package name, the class name, and then the hash code. So this is the detail view. And what about the logical structure? Any complicated data structure, say for example, I have a list of person. This is the person list. By default, it is shown like this. If I expand this, we can see this person objects with different IDs. And if I expand them, you can see the age, country, and name. So by default, this is the view. Here, if I click, it would show me the logical structure. So this is the logical structure and this is the detail formatter output. Here I can see different objects. So by default, this is what we have. Now, if I want to customize the detail formatter, then in the logical structure also, the change would reflect. How it would reflect? That I will show. I can stop this application or I can keep it running. Let me go back to my repository. As I have added these dependencies, either of these options I can use. I can use Jackson or JSON. But in your case, please remember, unless you have the dependencies for these libraries in your project, you should not use this. You can get exception in that case. Let me copy this. So we are using this object mapper dot write value as string. Then we are passing this object. Copying this, going back to Eclipse. So for detail formatter, we can go to window, Preferences. Under debug, we have detail formatters. Click on add. Now, what we can do over here, for a specific type, we can apply a detail formatter. In this case, let us think that we are going to apply this on person. I have type person. Click on select type. It is showing me the actual person object which we need to use. Selecting this, clicking on OK. Here, I need to add the detail formatted code snippet that I already copied. Here, we cannot add any try catch block. We cannot handle any exception. So, if we don't use it cautiously, if we don't have the proper dependencies in our project, then we would face problem during debugging. There could be exceptions. There could be weird scenarios. So keep in mind while using this feature, you should have the dependency of the library in your project, whichever you are going to use in detail formatter. By default, this is checked. I'm clicking OK. Click on apply and close. Now suddenly on the right hand side, you can see the impact. If I just focus on this person object, already it has changed. It is giving me the JSON formatted output over here under value. If I expand this, it is same as it was earlier. But if I select this over here, you can see this detail view has changed. If I go back again, window, preferences, this is the one we added, and by default, this is selected as the level for variables with detail formatters. Canceling this. Now, this got impacted, this detail view change, and also let me see how the logical structure looks now. We can see this has already changed. Now, how it has changed, if I revert it back, we will understand. Apply and close. We have disabled it. Now we can see this is the view, person, age, country, name. This logical show logical structure is selected. This is the kind of view we have. Again, if I go back, preferences, enable this, apply and close. Now this logical structure is changed. Detail formatter already had an impact, but this show logical structure, if you see for all the objects, we can see the values over here. If I select them, we can get this value in the details section. So this is how we can customize the view with Jackson. Same thing we can do with Google JSON library also. Whatever you use, you need that dependency in your project. Let me copy this, going back, window, references. Let me select this. I'm editing this, clicking on edit, commenting this out. So here we are using JSON builder dot set pretty printing dot create dot to JSON, then passing this object reference. Clicking on OK, apply and close. So again, what we can see, so the JSON string for these objects are appearing over here. If I expand them, we have this view like age, name, and country. Let me readjust the size over here. But when we select them, we get this detailed view. One thing you can notice over here, wherever I have anything null, that is not shown over here. If I select this particular object, where I have name, age, and country, you can see all these three fields. But here, my country is null. It is showing the name and age on. Similarly, if I select this person list and apply show logical structure, you can see the object views are getting customized. I'm just going to change it back to Jackson just to see how this behavior changes, what it shows in case of this particular object. Window, preferences, edit, OK, apply and close. Yes, the ones where country is null, in case of Jackson, it is showing that field also. It's not removing that. So that is a subtle difference between using Google JSON or Jackson Data Wine. So this is how we can customize the detail formatter in Eclipse using this JSON library. Apart from that, without adjusting this detail formatter, what we can do, we can go to Window, Preferences, under Logical Structures. We can create a new logical structure here also. but that is unnecessary. But if needed, we can do it. We can add it over here and add the person object type and then the corresponding code, and it would reflect. But if we do it at formatter level, that is much simpler and easier to manage. So this is how we can customize the detail formatter as well as the logical structure view during debugging in Eclipse.